Hello, everyone. This is Helia Singh again here, your wealth coach, and I'm here today with another very special guest, Zee Winter. She is a mindset coach, but I will let to hear her and get the energy from her because I already had some chat with her, and as you can see, I'm already hyped up. So I will let her to introduce what she does and so you can know more about her and how you can reach her to help you make a better life for yourself. Welcome, Z. Thank you very much for coming to our show. I really appreciate your time. So tell me more about yourself, and is it was been always a career choice for you to become a coach? Or because I remember last time when I was in uni, which was last century, there was no such a thing as a coach. So
Yes.
tell me more about that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having me on here. My journey was very, very convoluted, which I always say it gives us substance because when we go through challenge and difficult situations, I always say diamonds are created under pressure. So it makes us sparkle and it makes us stronger. And then we can actually shine our light the way that we want. So my journey came out of struggle in a really positive way. So I started in this system where I was a molecular biologist and biomedical scientist. That was my first degree. And I specialized in vaccine research. I did my honors and published a few papers as a biomedical scientist. And later on wanted more face-to-face interactions with people. I was very obsessed with health. I did my master's in pharmacy and I elevated to the top of that. So I was managing my own pharmacy, had a big team, worked in private hospital. And the reason I got into the healthcare system, or what I thought was the healthcare system, was because from a young age, I suffered with a lot of diseases. And it started with autoimmune disease. So I had alopecia areata, where your hair falls out. And as a young person, that was quite, I was embarrassed. I was really shameful. I didn't want anyone to notice. Then I got diagnosed with thyroid disease and I was medicated for that. And, chronic diseases often follow, because of mass inflammation in the body. So asthma, eczema, I had arrhythmia, I had cystic polyps all in my nose. I had MRI scans and they said, there's nothing you can do. There's so many polyps that you can't breathe. You're going to need surgery. And of course, because I had spent 8 years at university getting all my degrees and qualifications, I had learned a system that said, once you're broken, you cannot fix it. And it's in your genes and it's irreversible. And so when we have these type of mindsets and beliefs, then we will act in a way that makes that true and we self-perpetuate it. And so when I started to believe this stuff, obviously I felt very frustrated with my body. I felt overwhelmed. I felt just constantly in pain and sickness. And I had cervical arthritis, which would give me a lot of pain. I would vomit every day. I was medicated, and lots of the medications give you toxic effects. And so it's an extrapolated thing. And I would see this in my patients. But eventually it got to the point where it was kind of a do or die situation. And my heart was severely arrhythmic. And they said, we're going to put you on another medication. And I thought, this is it for me. I was really young as well. And I said, something's got to change, or nothing changes if nothing changes. So I got to change something. But my belief system says there's nothing you can do. It's genetic. It's irreversible. And so what I had to do was kind of try and find a new belief. And I started with a what if question. I said, what if my body can heal? And it's powerful to challenge beliefs and stories that don't work for us. And so being ill and saying that it's my genetics and there's nothing I can do, that didn't serve me. And so I started questioning this belief, and I left the industry and I started experimenting on myself. And after 10 years of damage, I healed everything in 8 months. And I have, x-rays, it's reversed the cervical arthritis. My thyroid has gone back to normal, which was impossible. My eczema disappeared. My asthma disappeared. My depression disappeared. My cystic polyps dissolved. So I didn't have to get them cut out. And so it's amazing. And, as you can see, my hair is very much grown back, which is fantastic. But I've also been well for the next, decade. And so I say that's when I started to go, right, if you don't change the belief, then nothing else can change. And so that's why I started with mindset training. Now, I left the industry and I said, right, can I use the same formula that transformed my body to transform my relationships, transform my career? And yes, within 1 year, I was earning more money, and I did not use any of the degrees that I just spent 8 years at uni collecting. So you can do anything with the right mindset. And I always say to people, the formula is the same. The outcome, what success looks like, will be different to everybody, and there's no right and wrong. It's whatever vibes you up, makes you the best version of you, which will be different. But the formula is the same. So that's why I teach people the formula of how to take back their power. How do you use your mind to serve you rather than to hinder you? If there's something you want, you can definitely get it. So my journey started with sickness, but it ended up in learning the lessons and having compassion and really understanding what people feel like when they are down and out and in constant pain, because it gave me empathy and compassion because of experience. So very different.
Wonderful. What an amazing story and journey. What I really love about it is that your journey is backed by science as well, even though, as you mentioned, you then use those degree in, terms of healing yourself, but still being aware of it, that what could affect you, what's not. So, and then at the end, you have used all of this together like a puzzle, put them together. Now you trying to help others to basically achieve the same things that you have achieved for yourself. That's amazing. I love your story. I think you all coaches, you all have different story how you become a coach. But I think one thing is in common for all of us is just at the end of the day is that we are really keen to help others the way that we thought that help us. And that's something you don't want to keep it to yourself. You just want to multiply it and just make it a model for others to use it as well. And I love the mindset part because even in my experience of being a financial advisor for many years and then turned to become a coach, wealth coach, is that I always found that like this client trusts me, like what I say, it's been a client forever, but why what I said to him is not doing it? But then I just found out it was all about mindset. So just until mindset is changed, nothing will change.
Exactly. I mean, you would have had in your experience where clients would get a promotion or get more money and they still don't financially change because their threshold is set to poverty mindset. And so you need to change that before you can accept wealth.
Exactly. No, wonderful. So if you want to just name your coaching style or expertise into one word, what would you call yourself? Or mindset coach, or is it a relationship coach, or is it a business coach? But just pick one word.
Yeah, I would say I am a mindset trainer because I help people train their mind. I don't train their mind. I help them train their mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that, what you said. Okay, you help them to train their mind. Because one thing I remember is a few times clients ask me, or I've heard it in some events, that, okay, what's the difference between trainer, consultant, mentor, and coach? Tell me, what is it in your definition, if you want to answer that question?
That's a brilliant question. I think it really comes down to the intention. And so a mentor can also be someone that is coaching or training you, or helping you train. The mentor is someone who already has achieved what you want. And I always say, be very careful at who you listen to, whether it's a book you read, a podcast. Are you listening to advice from someone who has what you want? So, I have people in my life that have the abundance and financial freedom that I want. And when they say things about investment or savings or strategy on finance, I'm listening. But they have horrible relationships. So the minute they give me any relationship advice, I just take that and I throw it away. So I say, a mentor is someone who has something that you want. And it doesn't mean they're perfect. It's just you want to emanate what they have that you want, those little pieces of information. A coach, I guess, there's so much in there that people are now, there's a banner like a life coach, and everybody wants to be a life coach. And I see these certificates out online, but I say, vet the people that you are taking information from. Make sure they live and breathe what they are spouting, because a lot of the times I see these life coaches that have miserable lives, that are hugely stressed, that have sickness and illness, that have bad relationships. What are you trying to learn from them? Because are they really practicing what they preach? This is why I always say, I wouldn't go to a fat PT and I wouldn't go to a sick doctor. I wouldn't go to a financial advisor that is broke. these things matter because they don't, even though they have the theory, they don't understand what they're doing. And as a pharmacist, I remember mothers would come in to me and I would have all the theory on formula, right? And they would say, what's the best formula? And I said to them, to their face, I said, I've never had a child. So I can give you the theory on what's the best formula. I can tell you everything that's in them. But the best person to ask is the mother who has used it, because they will be able to tell you, yeah, that's all true, but this tastes like rubbish and the child won't eat it. So that's valuable information. So I say, pick who you go to. So I always say, more than the label, find out who it is that you're getting the information from, and do they really resonate with you, and then choose from that level. That's kind of how I would go about defining.
Sure. Thanks very much for that. All right. Just a few other questions I would like to ask you, if you don't mind. Okay, in your life experience with coaches, or in your academic life and everything, if you want to give one moment to say that the aha moment for yourself, was it only one time that happened, or is it something that as you go through life that happens a lot? So did you have a coach yourself? Do you have a coach? So what is your take on that?
I love that. Yeah. So there's a few parts to that. So this is what I kind of explain is that life guides you because of your intentions. Whether we're conscious or not, we're setting intentions. So people go, oh, I don't want anything in life. Well, that's not true, because when someone yells at you or is aggressive, automatically we go, I want kindness. Automatically. And we see that through our emotions because we get offended. Well, if you don't want anything, you wouldn't get offended. You wouldn't feel anything. And so we are automatically asking for more and better, which is a good thing, and we grow. And I say we're asking for more of what we want. We want more abundance. We want more satisfaction. We want more fun. We want more play. And the universe, or whatever you want to call it, God, universe, higher self, whatever it is that you want to embody, but there is a higher power, and it guides you to what you're asking for. And what it does is it creates pressure. And I say you'll get the feather, the punch, the brick, and the sledgehammer. And so usually something will happen and we'll feel uncomfortable. And it's almost like a nudge. You want to start that business, and then you go to work and your boss is annoying you, or the things you're getting assigned aren't really that pleasurable, or you're getting bored. They're your little feathers. And then eventually, if you don't listen and you're still asking, that dream of starting my own business or whatever it is, you're going to get a punch. Something's going to happen that's going to hit you, and it's going to feel so uncomfortable, and it's going to shatter you. And you go, now that's a moment. And most of us will just get up and keep going, because then we go, but it's so hard to do this. And if I have to start, so then we go back into it. And then because we can't unask for our dreams. And so then we'll get the brick, and the brick hurts. The brick is, okay, now you've lost your lifeline there. Maybe your mentor gets made redundant, or something big happens that, really startles you, that shakes you, that is that defining, I think this is an opportunity for me to leave, or whatever it is. It's a major decision. Now, in that moment, there are some people that will stand up and make the change that they need. Most of us don't. Most of us will get back up, dust yourself off, and keep going down the path we don't like. And then you'll get the sledgehammer, if you're lucky. Now, a sledgehammer is bankruptcy. A sledgehammer is you've worked at a job you hated all your life, and then were made redundant. And sledgehammer is when you get diagnosed with cancer, like what I did with that huge list of chronic illnesses. A sledgehammer will bring you to your knees, where you go, I don't have any other option but to change. So this is a great opportunity. Now, we don't want the sledgehammer in order to change. And we don't have to have the sledgehammer in order to change, but most people wait for the sledgehammer in order to change. And so with that, we can actually make that massive change and move forward. So I believe that, people will make those changes when they get one of those things. Now, if you're conscious of it, you'll feel the feather and make pivots. So if you have practiced through sledgehammer moments and go, I never want that again, you can make the changes. So that's what I do now. And so you ask, do you use coaches? At the time, I didn't. I waited for the sledgehammer. I had the feather, I had the punch, I had the brick, I had all of it, but I had to wait to the sledgehammer to go, this is not working for me. I'm doing all the right things and it's just, I'm getting sicker. My patients are getting sick. Something's not working. Something's got to change. And so that caused me to go, what if? And I played with it, and it can be easy. And once you've got these strategies, it's easy. Now I know I don't ever want the sledgehammer again. And I'm also an expert at mindset coaching, right? I help people train their own mind. But I'm not an expert at business. So I have a business coach. I'm not an expert at finances. I have a finance coach. I'm not an expert at the gym. I have a gym trainer who trains me. So whatever you want to get an expert at, I believe that you get someone who's already got what you want, have done the hard work. I don't want to relearn the mistakes. You just tell me the fast way to get there. So I believe in coaching, and I do walk the talk, and my coaches are not cheap because I want someone who really knows what they're talking about. And when you're paying a coach, you're not paying for, an hour of their time. You're paying for the 20 years of experience and hardship where they fell flat on their butts and they had sledgehammer moments. They might have had really hard stuff, and they have now learned formulas to avoid that. And so you're saving yourself time, energy, and you're just fast tracking. So that's what we're really paying for. So yeah, I value coaching. I did it the hard way to get to where I am. But now I teach people easy ways to get where they want to go with their mind, which includes decreasing stress, taking back their health, and creating epic relationships. But for me, I have valued coaches in other areas that I don't want to spend 20 years mastering. You just teach me how to do it better. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. No, look, it is all great. So, I mean, I'm a big believer in having a mindset coach. I know in many areas I need a coach. And I remember I actually, spoke to one of my coaches early on in my career. And he said that, oh, look, a coach doesn't have to be reaching that, result that you want to reach. But I said to him, I beg to differ, because I believe I'm exactly like you. I'm not going to take advice from a fat or obese PT. I mean, how can I? So unless, that person has got a medical reason or something that's different, but I'm just saying, how can I get motivated? Because I need someone to motivate me, not just tell me, this is the formula, do this, or give me a exercise chart or something, because otherwise I can get it off the internet as well. You want someone as a role model. So you will do exactly what they do because you want to become like them. And that's the whole idea. That's amazing. And I really like what you said about the what if, asking that what if question. So, and the way I'll take it is that your message is, if anybody gets to that level of life that, they don't know what to do with their life in any area. So if they remember this one, what if, that's going to help them to find a way, which obviously help them to go online and find for great coaches like yourself to change.
Oh, yes.
Yes, no, wonderful. So please tell me about how our audience can reach you, and what is it that you do differently to others that can help them?
Yeah, so I am on all of the social media platforms. You can go onto Instagram, I'm Top Minds, or my website, so topminds.com.au. So I do stuff different because I'm a no-nonsense kind of trainer. I'm very playful. I believe that it should be easy and fun. So a lot of the times you hear about people who, especially when they're talking about spirituality, oh, if you don't do it this way, you'll die. And I always say, okay, there's not one size fits all. It's take what works and leave what doesn't. But this is a formula that's worked for thousands of people. I've done free events, years ago, and it was just a 1 hour free event. And I've had people contact me saying, I was at your event years ago and I've changed my life. And it was just that 40 minutes or whatever. And I went, I service thousands of people now worldwide. So I can't remember them, obviously. But that one interaction can really significantly change. And I believe it's because I've been there, done that. But when I look at people, I genuinely see their power. And so everybody has the potential and power to have, do, or be whatever they want. And I genuinely know this is true. It's about unlocking what I call BS belief systems within ourselves that tells us all of the fake excuses of why we can't have what we have. And we often make things really difficult for ourselves. So what I do is I simplify everything. I think it should be play. I think it should be fun. The what if question is my favorite because it's playful. And so if we go, I believe I cannot heal my body. I believe it. I know it's true. Okay. Then you're going to behave like that. You're not going to make any changes, because if it's impossible to change, why would you do anything different? But if we can soften it and say, okay, but what if I could? It's a little bit easier to take, and it's a little bit more palatable. In the brain, when they do psychological studies, there's a reticulum that filters out a lot of what we ingest. We have a lot of parts per million that we get through our senses that tells us what's going on in our environment. And this filters out based on our belief systems, and the reticulum in our brain will filter out different things. When we start to say, what if we say, I believe I can't heal, you will filter out everything to do with healing, and you will say, I am stuck, and you will find evidence that proves you're right, because that's what our brain does. But when we say, what if, it shifts the parameters and opens our view. Now, what I always say was really fun is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it becomes really fun, because then you see people that do heal and that have what you got. And that, for example, I can't have any money. I was born rich, and I was born poor, and I can never get rich, and I wasn't at the right family, and I don't have the right education, whatever the belief is. If you go, but what if I could? What if every time you counter it, what if, just that play, you start to see people that started worse than you, who have made it, amazing, and got what you got. So you can't unsee it. So I do it very playful. I have a lot of fun, and I basically teach people the core of how to recognize when they're in self-sabotage mode and how to rewrite that in real time. And it's very easy. It's a 6-week program, and I do not want clients forever. I want them quick. I want you to learn it, and I want you to go and teach it. Teach by example. Live your best life. Get your body to heal itself, get your finances, get your loving relationships. And then everyone's going to come to you and go, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then you teach them. And that's amazing. And that's how we're going to trickle it out and empower the world. That's what I believe anyway. So they can reach me online on socials, and they can DM me. All of my stuff is on my website. So anyone who wants to empower their life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And definitely we'll make sure your details and logo and the stuff is on the bottom of this video. And so then they can just click on it and, reach you directly. And I'm sure we're going to have this conversation again later, because the next series is going to be that the clients who will come up and ask questions, and then we will invite you back here to answer the questions directly from clients, which will be great for all of us, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure there are more healed people around us. Yes. Imagine the world, so it's just the people who are already living their best life and to their potential. So that would be amazing. Thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it. Lovely to see you here. And yes, and I'm sure we will meet again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
See you then.
See you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.